Ex-Bethelite here. Got my sugary drinks. Not that that's important, but Jehovah's Witnesses are not Christian. I'm going to go back to this again, and the reason why I'm going to go back to this again is because of Bethel. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, you know Bethel is the world headquarters of your organization. Now, here's the test of Jehovah's Witnesses being Christian or not, because Jesus said you would know a tree by its fruit. It's a very simple but yet very deep way of analyzing a person, organization, definitely an organization. Now, so let's say by show of hands, pretend I could see, but by show of hands, how many of you knew that Bethelites took a vow of poverty? Raise your hand at home if you knew that. Let's just say that there's a possibility there are Jehovah's Witnesses that maybe did not know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, by show of hands, how many people knew that Bethelites did not get paid at all for their work done? There's an allowance for toiletries, but they're not paid. They don't have money to fall back on. Show of hands, how many people knew that Bethelites were not being paid? Everybody's hand ought to be up. Every Jehovah's Witness, and I think Jehovah's Witnesses should be able to listen to my videos. I think that I'm fair, and I always give my number if you think I'm not fair, and you could highlight where you think I'm wrong. I'll try to remember to do that at the end of this video. But again, everybody's hand should go up when you are asked if Jehovah's Witnesses pay Bethelites for their services. The answer is no. Now, how many people knew that Bethelites were being quote unquote reassigned? They're actually just being asked to leave. I know me personally, that's what happened. And it happened the same way it would happen if you were being laid off from any company. You get sat down in a room with a couple of people and they explain that they have to make some cuts. That's exactly what happened. Now, here's where Christianity steps in. Can you imagine Jesus Christ? This is the same person who, when crowds came to hear him speak, said, we're going to have to feed these people. We're not going to send them away without anything to eat. You could have said, they're the ones that came to hear me speak. Let them figure out something as far as food is concerned. No, he made sure that they were provided for. And these weren't even necessarily apostles or anything to that effect. These are people that came to hear him speak. He wasn't going to send them away without anything. Is that what Bethel did? Is that the pattern Bethel, which is the headquarters? These are the people, the governing body. These are the leaders. If they're not Christian, how are Jehovah's Witnesses Christian? If they're not Christian, how are the people that follow them Christian? Is that what they did? Is there a Bethelite that got a packed lunch sent with them? If so, I'm going to leave my number. Give me a call. Let me know, because they forgot to give me mine. I went to the commissary. I thought it was common sense to go to the commissary and grab not a lot of things, but just something for the road. You know what I mean? A couple pieces of fruit and a juice. I forget what these juices are called. but it's like a quart of fruit juice to have something in the car to drink, as I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go from there. And I was charged for that. Not only was I not given a packed lunch, brother, we're sorry we can't continue to have the number of people here at Bethel that we have. We're going to have to send you on your way. Here's a boxed lunch. At least you have one meal until you can figure out where to go from here. No, it was from my room. It was, we're going to put your boxes. This is what they helped do, was get my boxes and things and put them in boxes and put them in my car. They help speed up the process. And then, hey, by the way, drop off your dwelling in unity manual and your room keys and anything else like that at the front office. There was no here's a sandwich to take with you. You know what I mean? Is this not? At what point did Jehovah's Witnesses, the ones that are Christian, let's say that Jehovah's Witnesses are Christian, at what point did they stand up and say, hey, this is wrong? Hey, this is wrong. You guys, we understand if financially you can't support the amount of Bethelites you have there, even though you're not paying them. But we understand if you can't support the amount of people you have there. But the Christian Jehovah's Witnesses should have stood up at that point and said, pack lunches, give them something to eat while they're on the road, do something. As a matter of fact, let's make sure they have a place to go before they even leave. People shouldn't be driving around their car trying to figure out, okay, where should I go? Let me make some calls. A little bit into my situation, the reason why I was in that situation is there wasn't much time. There wasn't even a full 2 weeks that passed from the time that I had the meeting. Hey, brother, we're gonna have to make cuts. They didn't even say brother. Hey, we're looking at the departments. We're seeing where we can make cuts. From that meeting to the time that brothers from the moving department showed up at my room and put my things in boxes and put them in my car wasn't even 2 weeks. So during that course, and I thought that I would have longer. That's why, I was looking for jobs and I was going to try to line up some interviews, and just basically wherever I could find something, I'd see if I could find someone to kind of stay with while I got on my feet. That was, my logic was, let's try to line up some work first. When they came to do all that, I had an old laptop that I brought with me to Bethel that was open, and it was on the job search screen while they came in. I was in the process of looking for a job as they came in. Nobody cared. At what point would you think Jesus Christ would just sit back and say, this is okay? Keep in mind, this is supposed to be an organization led by him. Stop. That is just beyond foolish. These people, Jehovah's Witnesses have in their mind, because they knock on doors and because they don't celebrate holidays, because they don't do this and they don't do that, they must be the best representative of Jesus Christ there is. But they fall short on the actual being Christian part. There are plenty of people who don't want to go to war. You can just be a pacifist and not believe in war. You don't even necessarily have to be a Christian to do that. There's plenty of companies that go door from door to advertise and do things like that, canvassing and doing things like that. You don't even have to be a Christian necessarily to go door to door. I'm sure there's people that read literature. There may be people that, read books. You can go to any bookstore and grab a publication that is Christian in nature. You don't have to necessarily be Christian to read. To be Christian, you need to, be like Jesus. Live like Jesus. Pattern your life after Jesus Christ. So there are, let's say, 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses. How many of them stood up and said, this is wrong? This is the reason why the organization can do this. Is because its members are following them, not Jesus. The Jehovah's Witnesses follow the governing body and the Watchtower organization, not Jesus. That's why the organization can do things that are not Christian and no one will say anything. The only people speaking up are people who are ex-members, former members that I know of. I got back from Bethel and people were kind of like, man, we never thought that would happen, but I'm not going to say anything. That's not Christian. Being Christian, you stand up for what is right. So there's no way an organization that you're a part of can do something like that. Take people, and the reason why I did the show of hands is there isn't a single Jehovah's Witnesses that did not know that the people that they're sending away they don't have any money. They can't just necessarily hit it on their situation, but they're not all going to be able to just stop by the store and grab something to eat. Stop by the store and fill up on gas. I'm pretty sure I filled up on gas at the complex before I left, but they're not going to be able to buy things, and it's kind of common sense that if someone is being sent away from where they work and live, that they would probably need some money, they would probably need some food, they would probably need something. Everyone doesn't live right around the corner from Bethel. I was at Wallkill, Bethel. Everyone does not live right around the corner, so obviously that entails some driving. This is common sense stuff. This is common sense stuff. What do they think? Ravens were going to drop meat? They're going to fly in my car and drop meat in my car? I mean, what were they thinking? They didn't care. But the Jehovah's Witnesses that say they're Christian, tell them to explain themselves. They try to, I guarantee you, I already know, I was born and raised a Jehovah's Witnesses. What they're going to do is try to go around it. They're going to explain around it. Well, maybe you just slipped through the cracks. Maybe they forgot about you and maybe they handed other people food and or lunches. And no, stop it. They knew full well when they printed out a bill, found out where I lived, and mailed the bill to me that that was not, I can't call that Christian. I cannot call that Christian. If I had taken a large amount of stuff, yeah, definitely, okay. That's something that may need to be reimbursed. But a couple pieces of fruit and juice, stop it. You should have given me that. I mean, stop it. So, I mean, and if I remember correctly, which I'm pretty sure I was asked to leave before dinner. So, I mean, we've been over this. And the question is, how can a Christian stand by? Do this in the Catholic Church. And let's just see a whole bunch of Catholics watch a bunch of priests with, let's say that they don't have any money. I don't know the details of that. Do this in the Catholic Church. Just send a whole bunch of priests out away. Don't send them anywhere particular. Just send them away. You all got to just go. Don't give them any food. Don't give them anything. You just got to go. See if that can fly in the Catholic Church. I bet you there's some Christians there, and I bet you they're going to stand up and they're going to say something about that. They may even protest. Even if the Catholic people in the Catholic Church wanted to do that, they know they can't get away with doing it because it's Christians that ain't going to stand for it. Try doing that in another religion. These religions that Jehovah's Witnesses say aren't Christian. Try doing that in one of those religious bodies or religious groups and see if you can get away with it. No, you're not going to get away with it, because there's people there that are Christian that are going to stand up and say this is wrong. You're not going to do something like that. Jesus made sure that people that weren't even traveling with him, let alone living and working in the world headquarters, he made sure that they had at least something to eat, to, give them something to eat as they travel back home. Any Jehovah's Witness, get a Bible, read it, it's there. Jesus, they multiplied fish, they had plenty of food for everyone. They were provided for. It was possible. You mean to tell me Bethel is supposed to be the organization, it's supposed to be Jehovah's organization, but they couldn't feed, make sure people had lunches to take with them? It happened in the Bible. Jesus did it. Explain this to me. The concept of Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't take much thought. It doesn't take much thought. And that's why when I stand up and say Jehovah's Witnesses aren't Christian, it's because there's too much information out there for them not to know that it's false. Bethel is doing things like what they did with me, just basically, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Here's a bill for the little bit of food that you thought you were going to be able to, we wanted you to just be hungry and leave. We didn't want you to have anything to eat. That doesn't even take any thought to know that that's not the truth. That's not it. People, I believe, stay out of familiarity. They're comfortable with it. They like it. You don't have to be anybody. You don't have to have any kind of theological training necessarily to move up there. You can be, a big fish in a small pond. That's not being a Christian. You're not. I don't think Jehovah's Witnesses are Christian, because at least not the ones that did not say anything. Not the ones that just stood back and said, hey, this is okay. Because people who aren't Christian know that's not okay. I don't even know where to, go with this discussion. It'd be nice if we could, I'm going to get a computer, and if we could have callers call in and things like that, I would love to hear their explanation for this, because I don't even have one. If I was a Jehovah's Witness and I heard about that, I'd say, wait a minute. I'd be having questions. I'd ask some elders, this doesn't match anything in the Bible. You mean you just sent a whole bunch of people away? Now, you assume, or some people may assume, well, their relatives should just mail them something, or just, there are people at Bethel at all different ages. Some people at Bethel, some people at Bethel are from different countries. Their family is in different countries. They don't have anything to fall back on. They shouldn't need anything to fall back on. If that's Jehovah's organization, it should be pretty solid. You shouldn't need to just have massive layoffs of Bethelites if that was Jehovah's organization. But let's get to the people who are from different countries and made that leap of faith to serve at Bethel. They don't have anything to fall back on, because Bethel's not giving you any money. Their family, let's say, is in Australia or something to that effect. Now, how is this person getting to Australia with no money? They have to leave Bethel because Bethel doesn't care. Their family's in Australia, unless somebody else is going to help them out. How are they going to get to Australia to get to their family where they can have a place to stay? Bethel ain't cutting a check for no plane ride. So, stop it. This is, a discussion of, it's like me taking a rock, holding it up and saying, this is not an apple and this is the reason why. It doesn't resemble an apple because somebody said it was an apple. You think it's an apple? No, this is a rock. It's not an apple. Apple, there's so many things that distinguish an apple from a rock. It's ridiculous. There's so many things that distinguish a Christian from just some organization that it's ridiculous. So the organization is not Christian. Otherwise, that would not have been a thing that happened. It didn't just happen. They met, they had meetings, they decided this is what we're going to do. It's members that allowed that to happen. They didn't say anything, didn't write any letters to Bethel, didn't do anything, but kind of turn a blind eye to it. We don't want to get shunned. You know what I mean? We don't want to upset anyone. We don't want to rock the boat. You know, Christians wouldn't be afraid to stand up for what is right. So my number, 937-789-4029. Send me a text. 9 times out of 10, I'm at work. But yeah, I would love to hear a Jehovah's Witness explain this. I've got a billion relatives that are witnesses, and none of them would be able to explain this. They don't want to explain it. They don't touch it. They don't even want to talk about it, I'm sure. They don't want to talk about it because, you know, they don't want to be wrong. It's like looking in the mirror and not liking what you see, so you just don't look in the mirror. They just won't talk about what happened at Bethel. They know what happened. They know I didn't leave. They know that I was sent away. Let's not ask if they sent me away with any food or anything like that. Let's just not touch it. That's not Christian. That's sweeping things under the rug. 937-789-4029. I hate when people say their number really fast and you can't hear it. And you got to replay the video. 937-789-4029. Hit me up. Send me a text. Ex-Bethelite signing out.